So you want to know how mining is going green? Specifically, how about we talk electrification?
Okay.
We dug into this Komatsu white paper, and they're doing some seriously cool stuff.
Okay, so what have they got?
Well, get this. Komatsu's been working on this tech for like over 40 years.
Wow, so it's not just a pipe dream. They've really been at it.
Right. I was shocked too. And they haven't just been dipping their toes in. We're talking over 260 electric excavators delivered.
Seriously, that many.
Yep. And get this, those excavators have racked up over 12.7 million operating hours. That's not a typo. Million.
Wow, that's incredible. So they're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it. Yeah, it's a serious track record.
This Komatsu white paper we're looking at, it traces the whole thing back to the 1980s. Like, electric excavators were practically vintage by now.
The 80s? Are you serious? That's wild.
Right. So picture this. 1980s, big hair, leg warmers, and DMAG, which is now part of Komatsu, they unveil this beast of a machine, the first fully electric hydraulic excavator.
Okay, so how big are we talking here? What's the scale of this thing?
This thing was a monster, 300 tons. That's like parking 10 adult blue whales in your driveway.
Get out of here. No way. 10 blue whales? That's nuts. What'd they call this thing?
The H241 Ketchi, right.
Very technical. But they didn't stop there, did they?
No way. They took it even further. Fast forward to 1989, they launched the H485.
Okay, so what's so special about the H485?
This thing was a behemoth, 700 tons.
Are you kidding me? 700 tons. That's like twice the size of the first one.
Yeah. And this one was built to work in the Arctic. Talk about pushing the limits.
Wow, that's intense. So, we've established that this technology has been around for a lot longer than people think. But the question is, why go electric in the first place? Besides the obvious environmental reasons, which I'm sure we'll get to, I'm guessing there's a strong business case for this as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And there is. Besides saving the planet, these things can save companies a lot of money.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Cost-effective mining. Tell me more.
It really comes down to a few things. Maintenance is way easier on these electric giants compared to those diesel-guzzling dinosaurs.
Really? I would have thought with all those electric motors and whatnot, maintenance would be way more complicated.
It does seem kind of counterintuitive about it. An electric motor, not that many moving parts. Diesel engine, crazy complicated. More parts, more problems.
Okay, that makes sense. So less downtime, and I'm guessing you don't need a team of specialized mechanics on standby every time something needs tweaking.
Bingo. Especially in those remote mining locations, getting parts and experts flown in, that's a logistical headache and a huge expense. But, gotta be real, there are challenges. The white paper doesn't shy away from that.
Oh, like what?
Well, going electric, it's not as simple as it sounds. You need serious infrastructure. Think mine grids, substations, the whole shebang.
Yeah, I bet.
Huh.
Just plugging in a monster excavator doesn't quite cut it, huh?
Not quite. But they've thought this through. And one thing that comes to mind is mobility. With those massive cables, you're kind of stuck, right? Compared to a diesel engine, which can move around freely.
That's what I was thinking. You're tethered to a power source. How do you get around that?
Well, Komatsu, they're clever. They've developed these automated cable drums. They extend the excavator's range massively, like over 250 meters. Think about it, that's longer than 2 football fields.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty impressive. They really thought that through. But let's talk numbers, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Show me the money. Do these advantages actually result in cost savings?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you look at the data, the business case is clear-cut. They highlight this PC 7011 model, and it's impressive. Depending on the energy grid it's connected to, this thing can slash CO2 emissions by up to 95% compared to a diesel counterpart.
Hold on, 95%. Are you serious? That's almost completely eliminating the carbon footprint of these massive machines.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And the best part, it's not just good for the planet, it's good for business. The cost savings are huge. Over the lifespan of this machine, you're looking at up to 40% lower total cost of ownership.
Wait, did you say 40%? Wow. So where are these savings coming from?
Well, for starters, the upfront cost is already lower. Then you've got reduced maintenance costs and, of course, cheaper energy consumption, especially if the mine is tapping into renewable energy sources. The white paper goes into the nitty-gritty, but yeah, the numbers don't lie.
Those are some seriously impressive savings. But I gotta know, is this actually happening in the real world? Because I want to see this thing in action. You keep saying real world this and real world that, but is there, like, an actual example of this happening somewhere?
Oh, absolutely. They talk about this amazing case study in the white paper, Bear Gold. They've got this copper mine in Zambia, Lumwana. So they took these 3 PC 8000 excavators, These were diesel-powered originally.
Wait, hold on. How many excavators?
3 of them, and they were huge.
Yeah.
PC-8000s. Anyway, they took these things from a mine in Chile, high up in the mountains.
They shipped excavators from South America to Africa.
Yeah,
Seriously.
they shipped them all the way to Zambia, and then, get this, they rebuilt them as electric units.
Okay, first of all, wow. Just the logistics of that are mind-blowing. But also, why go to all that trouble? Wouldn't it be easier to just, build new electric excavators in Zambia?
Well, they actually looked at that, and it
Yeah.
turns out reusing components like they did is actually way more sustainable. Less waste, smaller environmental impact.
Okay, I got to give them props for that. Recycling on a massive scale.
Yeah,
But did it actually work? I mean, are these Franken excavators actually holding up?
they are. Since they finished the conversion back in 2019, those excavators have already clocked over 85,000 operating hours.
Okay, now that's impressive. But it's not just about excavators themselves, right? The entire mine needs to be set up for this kind of electrification.
You got it. It's a whole system approach. And this Lawana mine, they're doing a lot of things right. For starters, a big chunk of their electricity comes from hydroelectric power.
Oh, wow. So these electric excavators are running on renewable energy. Talk about a win-win.
Exactly. They've basically electrified a huge chunk of their operations. Reduced emissions, lower costs.
This is blowing my mind. So if we take a step back and look at the big picture, what does this mean for the future of mining?
This is just the beginning. The white paper talks about electrifying the entire mining process. Not just the excavators haul, trucks, crushers, everything. A completely electric mine.
A fully electric mine. I mean, I knew this technology was cool, but wow, that sounds almost too futuristic. Is that even realistic?
More realistic than you might think. Especially with renewable energy becoming cheaper and more accessible all the time. The economics of it just makes sense.
Not to mention the benefits for the miners themselves. Better air quality, no more diesel fumes. It's a win for the environment and the workers.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to be more sustainable and responsible in every aspect of the industry. It's not always easy, but it's possible.
This has been an amazing deep dive. I had no idea electric mining technology was this far along, or that it was already making such a big impact. It gives me hope to see even heavy industries like mining finding ways to go green.
It's definitely a step in the right direction.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground, from the surprisingly long history of electric excavators to the potential for fully electric mines in the future. If you've been wondering if sustainable mining is even possible, I hope this has given you some food for thought. Now, here's a final thought to chew on. If even a 700-ton excavator can go electric, what other industries out there might be on the verge of their own green revolutions? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and as always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive.